Level 8, Turtle Rock. Hello everybody, Little Gear here, and welcome to the final dungeon of Link's Awakening. It's so epic and amazing with stuff. Alright, this is the final dungeon in the game, like I just said a moment ago. And I apologize for me not making any videos for the past couple of days. I've been sick. But now that I feel better, we're gonna finish off this dungeon, or start it, or something. That enemy right there, we've seen him plenty of times. We're gonna be seeing a lot of the mini-bosses that we've seen throughout this entire game. So yeah, that's the thing. And we're also going to be introduced to a new type of puzzle. This block right here, that block, it takes away your D-pad controls. You need to use the D-pad to move around, or the circle pad if you're playing the 3DS version. Doing that will usually give you a chest or something like that. You will be seeing three of these, either 3 or 4 of these kind of puzzles. I think it's 4, but we're going to be seeing a lot of those in this dungeon, and this is the only dungeon we're going to be seeing them in, mostly because this is the final dungeon in the game. And right there, that is, I don't remember his name, but we saw him in Tail Cave. And he's a lot easier now because we have sword beams, and sword beams are amazing. Anyway, that red demon enemy thing, he's pretty irritating. He's way up high on the list of my least favorite enemies in this game. It still doesn't beat the ladybug enemy, but it's still one of my least favorite enemies. If you have sword beams, you can defeat it very quickly. And once you get the item of the dungeon, then you'll get an even better. Then you can beat him in even quicker time. But let me just say right now, the item in this dungeon, it's gotta be like one of the greatest things ever, and you'll see why in a moment. But first, we need to go through here. You're gonna be doing a lot of backtracking in this dungeon, so I'm gonna warn you right now. There's also a lot of lava everywhere, and you will not be able to swim in lava at all. Kind of common sense, considering it's lava, and lava is not good for your health. There's some choo-choos around this chest, or Zolls, I guess. I'm gonna call them choo-choos. I don't care if they're 15 or Zolls, I've always called them choo-choos. Now that we have gotten the compass and the map, we're gonna end this video here. I'm kidding. We need to use the bombs to destroy this wall. This is a very complicated dungeon, and it's free, and a lot of people consider it to be like the most difficult dungeon in the game, aside from Eagle's Tower. But I already talked about my thoughts for Eagle's Tower. I still think that this and the Face Terrain are a lot harder than Eagle's Tower. This dungeon does require a lot of backtracking, like I've already said. So just keep that in mind. There's also a lot of snakes right there, which are evil. And we get a stone beak. Up here is the cute little alien pancake thing. I'm so sorry, alien pancake. I didn't want to have to do this, but I want to beat this game, and that means I must destroy you. The alien pancake is like the only enemy in the game, like the only mid-boss in the game, that the fight against it doesn't really get affected by the upgradable items in the game. You still have to use the croissant and the croissant bracelet thing, but even after you get the upgrade for the bracelet croissant, it still doesn't really affect anything. This right here, the owl statue, is telling us how to control those block tile things. How you get out of this room is that you need to use a jar to activate that switch right there. Another block puzzle thing is in this room. Now, something that always confuses me, and I know this confuses a lot of other people because I've seen a lot of people post about this on Miiverse, but there's a bombable wall in this room that is very important to know where it is. It's kind of required to know where it is to beat the dungeon, but as you can hear right there, there's a bombable wall right there. There's a crystal switch right here which we need to use, but I don't recommend using it right now. And the reason why I say that is because we're gonna need to leave the dungeon partway. Well, we don't. Actually, we do. Okay, partway through the dungeon, we need to leave the dungeon to be able to complete it. That may sound confusing right now, but trust me, you're gonna need to remember that. We're gonna need to leave the dungeon, and once you do that, the crystal switches will reset. So it's not a good idea to go after the crystal switches right now. Something else I have to point out is the room with the owl statue that we were just talking to a moment ago that talked about how to control the tile things. The staircase in there leads to a room that we were just in that had like a bunch of jars or something like that. So just keep that in mind. There's a switch near one of the jars that'll take you to a room and stuff. We don't really need to go into there right now. We don't technically need to go in there ever. So I'm not going to be going in there. To defeat the monsters that hold the key and attack them from a higher place. Spooky. This room right here, this is like the most evil jerkest enemy placement. Because you have to keep moving, otherwise they're going to fall to the floor. Now, one time, actually this was during the practice, well I just did it right now, but during the practice run, the part of the floor that I fell through, the key fell through that floor, and so I was like super depressed because I thought I had to fight those things all over again, but you don't have to. Yay. And there's a magic potion right there. How nice of it. There's a bunch of things right here. What they intended to do is that they intended to go upwards in that room to go to a staircase to take you back to the room before all those abominable block things. You don't need to go through there if you just do what I did, where you fall into lava because you will reset at the area where you went between screens. Now this is right here. This is why we have to leave the dungeon partway through, mostly because of the heart piece, and that is the final collectible in the entire game. And I am so happy, clap for joy! Okay, I kind of lied. That's not the main reason why we have to go through there. There's actually 3 reasons. One is because of this teleporting thingy-majigger. It's actually very nice of them to put a teleporting thing right there, because you may want to go get a secret potion, even though they give you one in the dungeon. Beginners are going to struggle with this. Beginners are going to struggle with this dungeon, because I know I struggled with this dungeon for years. So you're going to need some secret potions to not die and stuff, because it's not very nice. It's very nice of them to put out there, so that you could just go get a potion, go towards the maid village and get that, and go through the teleporting thing to get back to the dungeon. I really like that because if they didn't do that, then it would just take forever to get back to this dungeon. And will this thing just die? Thank you. And we get a key. Yay. It's very nice of them to do that so that we wouldn't have to go across Tall Mountain all over again to be able to do some things. Alright then, now what we need to do is that we need to make sure the correct items are equipped. That was embarrassing. We need to jump over the lava. I've actually read a theory one time that the lava in this dungeon isn't actually lava, that it might be blood, because it might be like the blood of the monster that you fought at the beginning to get into the dungeon, and when I read that, I was just like, I don't know why, but I just found it really hilarious for some reason. Those demon things right there, as you saw right there, they will run away from your arrows. The only way you can really defeat them, as far as I know, is that you need to either use a sword or the item that you're going to use in the dungeon. The sword, you can try to spin attack, not exactly the best strategy, but it's a force of habit of mine to charge up my sword beams. But now that I have the sword beams, I don't need to do the charging sword thing. We need to use the hooks out to get over here, which will get us some rubies. This dungeon is a great place to get a lot of rubies, because there's a lot of chests that gives us a lot of rubies, which is very nice of them. Remember how to get into this room, because we're going to be needing to know how to get through here to get a key. Well, we technically don't, but it's still recommended that you do so. Now we need to use the arrows to suit the eyeball statue. Because as we all know, if you see an eyeball in a Zelda game, it must die. And we get a key. And the statue looks strange. Suit it with the bow. That right there, that abominable wall, I really did not know about that until I was looking up another Let's Player's walkthrough for this. Because I was looking up, I wanted to know if there's anything in this dungeon that I didn't know about that I needed to sew off, and I'm really glad I did that, because I did not know this vulnerable wall existed, and I'll show you guys the reason why. This room right here is dark, and I don't really particularly care that much for lighting it all up, for lighting up the room. But when you do light it up, you'll see that the wall is vulnerable, and I did not know about that at all. So I'm really glad that I looked up a walkthrough to make sure I knew where what everything was. Um, and because of that vulnerable wall, there's actually one more key in this dungeon than you actually need to beat the dungeon. And I don't know why I'm saying actually a lot. Probably because I'm watching another Let's Player. You know who you are. There's some jumping ketchup things of doom. When I was a little kid, I used to think the blood was ketchup. Well, it's not blood, it's lava, but you know what I'm saying. I used to think it was ketchup when I was a little kid. And now it's time to go face the mini boss. This boss is really, really difficult. He has a really powerful punching move. It's like Little Mac's KO punch from Super Smash Brothers. I really hope I get to see this thing. Please don't punch me. Please don't punch me.